And welcome back to the Smart RV Podcast, friends and followers. My name is Joe Symmes of Fixin 2 RV, mobile RV tech in the southern part of Mississippi, Gulfport, Mississippi. And I'm joined by my co-host, John Vanek. How's it going, John?
Going well, Joe. John Vanek here from beautiful Douglas County, Nevada, northern Nevada. And of course, we got to talk about weather because, we're going to talk a lot about weather and the implications of weather in today's episode. But we're actually going into a little bit of a cooling trend for the next week, just a little one. We'll drop from mid to high 80s. We're going to drop down below 70 for a few days, but then we're coming back. So it's not really the change into fall, but it's just a little preview of fall coming up this week.
John, I do not understand, man. It's like September and you're talking cold weather. We we are still running the air conditioning as hard as it goes down here. I actually, though, did hit a milestone. I woke up last week, and for the first time, it was cooler outside than inside at daylight. That was the first time that's happened all year.
There you go. See, fall is approaching even in Gulfport, Mississippi.
We will eventually get there. We'll only be a couple months behind you all.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, we talk about the weather a lot. If you've watched other episodes, Joe and I were always joking about the weather and everything. But as RVers, we do have to be always kind of thinking a little bit early about the seasons we're rolling into, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially as techs, we're thinking a season ahead. We're planning. I know we're going to have some shows coming up here soon on the real hardcore winterizing topics and things like that. But for September, we're just starting to think ahead a little bit right now, and we're thinking of weather protection, right, John?
That's right. And so our first segment is usually beside the pedestal. These are simple tricks, tips, knowledge that every RVer should know or be reminded of. And my beside the pedestal topic this week is roof inspections. And the industry recommends that you have your roof inspected at a minimum of 2 times a year. And probably the best time is in the fall, right before winter hits, and then coming out of winter. And I recommend to my clients that they have their roof inspected at least twice a year, regardless of how they store the unit over the winter. If it's protected, you should still have it looked at because other things can happen to create roof issues, just age, but certainly exposure to sun, rain, snow, wind, all these things. And I would also say that if you are camping a lot or you're under trees, things like that, then you should probably have it checked more often. What do you recommend for your clients, Joe?
Yeah, I follow the same rubric there, John, twice a year, but obviously it depends on where you're parking. You all probably have a lot of sandy, dusty desert camping out there that you'd want to watch out for. Here it's more, are you parked under a cottonwood tree or what sort of foliage is falling down and clogging that thing up? So yeah, exactly. Twice a year, ideally. And to that point, I had a customer this week, kind of quick talk about my call of the week here. I had a customer called with just such a situation. I climbed up on the roof, and sure enough, he needed AC cleaning. Was able to take the covers off, give a basic inspection, clean the coils, clean a couple electrical connections that didn't look so good, cleaned out the dirt dauber nests that were starting to build up. Those are famous for giving you problems. So good chance to be up there, a good segment for that. But to your other point, while on a roof, any decent tech that I know is always just kind of going to glance around and do a quick visual and put their eye on the roof for at least a light roof inspection, we'll call it, if not more detailed. And sure enough, I was able to note a couple areas where my customer was starting to see some cracking and fading and some wear spots in their factory sealant. Some screw heads were starting to to poke through. So after the AC cleaning and climb down off the roof, advise the customer, hey, this is what's going on, and we can be a little proactive. I can take care of that for you if you like. And they said, yes, sir. Let's go ahead. And so AC cleaning turned into a roof update, not a complete reseal, but getting ahead of the wear spots and wear areas. Do you do stuff like that?
Absolutely. In fact, it's funny, and we haven't talked about this before right now, but I had basically the exact same situation. Client had their AC blower wheel, it cracked. And so the call says, hey, we turn on our AC and there's this huge rattling sound. It sounds like the thing's going to explode. It's rattling so much. So go up, look at the unit. Sure enough, cage had cracked. Just need to replace the cage. A simple fix there. But same thing. And I know that we both, and most, as you said, I think most professional RV techs, if they're on the roof for one thing, they're going to be looking for everything else. And so in my case, his front cap seal was heavily deteriorated with lots of gaps
Wow.
where water could flow right into the front cap. And I'll be talking about another front cap story here in a few minutes. But it was a quick and easy decision. Took some photographs of it, and this gentleman, he's uh, been around the sun many, many, many times, too many times to be climbing on a roof. And so, it's a great thing. You take some photographs, come down, sir, let's zoom into the photos. Do you see the cracks here? He's like, yeah, fix it. And so a few days later, I went back up and replaced the blower motor and resealed the front cap, along with some other smaller, just some degradation of seals. But yeah, it's an important thing, and we always want to be proactive and stay ahead of things.
Yeah, that describes my scenario perfectly, and the customer and I agreed. We can spend an hour of labor and a tube of sealant now and keep it sealed and not have any trouble in the future, or you can wait, you can roll the dice, and it's going to be a bigger deal not very far down the road. So penny wise, pound foolish, is that what they say? Better to stay ahead on these maintenance items.
Well, I know you and I, we both, when we are looking at roofs that need resealing, we try to offer sort of a good, better, and best pricing option. Can you expand on that a little bit for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate. I actually learned this business model from you when we were in school, and it served me well. So a lot of times you can explain to this, I guess, maybe sort of more of a tip for techs out there. The way John and I do it is explain a good, better, best scenario. And depending on what the client wants to spend, how proactive they want to be, where they're able to afford, they can choose which way to go. So, as an example, for a roof inspection, a good might be a few problem areas I see. I'll just do a quick spot cleaning and a spot reseal, so to speak, right on top. A better might be going to really deep clean and thoroughly reseal the entire front cap, for example. Even though I see a few spots here and there, we're going to go ahead and do the whole thing, or an entire bathroom vent or something to that nature. And of course, a best would be it's probably more for a little worse situation, a roof that's been a couple years, but uh, we're going to peel off the old stuff, get underneath the old Dicor with a couple different types of plastic scrapers, multi-tools, things like that. Maybe even use a little heat and get the old Dicor up and get back down to the bare rubber roof membrane or the fiberglass cap and rebuild back up from start. So a little more involved, a lot better final result, and it lasts a lot longer, but it's a lot more effort also. So that in a roofing world, that would kind of be a good, better, best three options that we can quote clients.
I think when we take the time to explain that to RV owners, they appreciate it because many RV owners in the first place, they don't realize that there is not a sealant out there. There is not a brand of sealant, a type of sealant that is a forever sealant. Sealants are purely a maintenance item. They're going to wear out at some point in time, regardless of how well you take care of your rig, how often you clean your roof, etc. And so, I did a front cap this week, and it took me about 2.5 hours. to no, I'm sorry, about closer to 2 hours to completely remove all the old sealant. Luckily, the sealant came off pretty easily, and then to reseal it. But I had another call week before last. We thought it was going to be spot sealing on the side edges of the RV where the membrane comes down and meets the rail. And when I did the initial inspection, it looked to really be more of just kind of a spot placement. Well, it was a really warm day when I was doing the inspection. And when I came back a couple weeks later to actually do the work, it was cooler in the morning. And I think it was simply because of the temperature differential. In the afternoon, it was warm. And so it made those seals appear tighter than they actually were. And in the morning, it was cooler weather. It actually rained the night before, and the water helped me see more areas of potential intrusion. So we didn't plan on removing all of the sealant from the sides, but that's what I ended up doing because once we got a better look at it, that was the smarter choice. And so ended up with complete new roof seals on either side. And so these are things that need to be looked at, once or twice, 3 times a year.
Well, thank you for that story, John. And let's go ahead and put a marker in for an upcoming episode because I'd like to do a deep dive into exterior inspections and a couple tips and tricks, and even want to toot my own horn a little bit and talk about Fixin to RVs, high-tech system we have of discovering leaks and proactively doing some non-destructive testing and finding potential leak areas. But I'm going to kind of prime the pump, whet the appetite, put out the teaser. That'll be a deep dive in a future episode.
Yeah, that'd be great because leaks can be very difficult. When you start experiencing leaks, they can be very difficult to diagnose because often we see the water coming in or the water damage not directly below where the water is intruding.
Right.
So that'll be a good topic because besides being a certified technician, Joe is also a certified inspector. And then he has this super special tool to help with leak detection. So I think you'll have to go out in the field. We'll have to go, you can't be showing this, how we do this in a studio. You got to take some photos and some video and show us how you do this because it's a pretty slick thing. And
Yeah.
if you're having chronic leaks, this is something you should be looking into. But anyway, moving on, our call of the week, where we kind of tend to go into a little more depth about our calls. And I think we're going to be talking about something that's related to roofs. Yes?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the roof episode, I think, because my call this week is a story that I think good techs can relate to. What I mean by that is the customer turned out to be out of my area, so there wasn't going to be a physical interaction whatsoever. But I believe the real good techs don't mind giving some verbal advice and helping out the poor stranded customer whenever they can with some words of wisdom. And that's just what happened to me today. I got a call. Lady had sort of accidentally discovered my name, my website, and come to find out she was too far away physically for me to help her. But hearing her need and her situation, I said, lay it on me. What's going on? And maybe I can give you a little advice, of how to go forward from here. She was quite upset. And as I heard the story, I understood why. Her and the person with her driving, is all she referred to them as, seemed to find out the exact clearance of their travel trailer the hard way. They apparently went under. Yeah, they went under some sort of a low pass, low overhead, low branch, low something. And according to her recount of the story, no necessarily structural damage, like the box of the trailer was fine, but they did clean the ACs off of the top of the roof. So,
did you say AC as in one or ACs as in more than one?
Yeah, more than one. They had a couple of air conditioners that were no longer in good working order, and there may have even been some vent covers and a few other things. But her question to me was, "What do I do now?" And as we dug into this, they were safe. They were on the side of the road, and it wasn't raining, and they had good weather for a couple days. However, they were on a longer trip, and it would be more than a month until they got back to their home station. They didn't mind putting the trailer in some sort of a brick and mortar professional shop and leaving it there and all that once they got home. But her advice or her question was, "What do I do now on the road?" And that's what she was calling to find. Is there a mobile tech that can come and give me some sort of a patch? And so we talked through some of her options, and I was able to help her through the RVHELP.com, RV Help Locator that we've talked about a couple times. I was able to find her area and tell her a couple names of a couple other techs, and so she was going to reach out to them if nothing else. But then as we dug a little deeper, she said, "Well, I've got some real cuts and gouges." And I said, "Oh, do you have a EPDM rubber roof membrane?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, there is a product, a tape, Eternabond tape, and techs lovingly refer to it as Eternal Bond because once you put that stuff on, there ain't no getting it off." I said, "So there's pros and cons of using it, but I think the right time, the right scenario, I am in favor of it. Just not for every situation that's ever been invented, but this seemed like one of those might be right for you." And I cautioned her. I'm sure you'll go into more detail about how to apply and where and things like that. But she was also asking about, okay, but can I buy something to paint on or pour on? I've seen ads online, for some other stuff. And I gave her some advice on that. I said, yes, that there are DIY level stuff. There's also professional application, kind of, we'll call it small time professional operations that do that. There's a guy here locally that does that kind of work. And then there's the really big, you need a specialized shop, a specialized application machine, a specialized team. There's companies that have kind of 2 locations throughout the U.S., and you're going to drop off your high-end rig and leave it them for quite some time to have a professional re-roof done. And there's everywhere in between. So again, kind of a good, better, best. But the real advice I gave her that she really liked is I said, before we do any of the above, why don't you call back home and find out, do you want to take it to the dealership where you bought it? Do you want to take it to a small local mom and pop, or do you want to take it to a third guy that specializes in nothing but roofs? Again, gave her the scenario, the example that we have one of those around here. And once you find that answer, then work it backwards. Ask that person, okay, A, let me go ahead and get on your schedule, get on the calendar. I'll be home in a month, and they'll appreciate the little forethought and long range planning. B, what do you recommend in between now and then? Because you're going to have to be removing this temporary patch. And they may say, oh, yeah, Etern's fine because I'm going to pull off all the rubber roof and start again with a kind of a base of plywood or OSB on the top. They may say, no, just go to a local big box store and buy the following couple products, paint those on, and you'll be good enough till you get here. You'll let them make the call because they're going to have to be undoing your temporary patch. And she
But
loved that advice.
but you took the time to really explain sort of the whole picture to her of the implications of how the short-term fix works with the long-term fix, or might not work well with the long-term fix. So you gave her the knowledge she
Yeah.
needed to really kind of plan out the whole thing before just starting to do things that might not be so advantageous down the road.
Exactly. And a quick example of that is if she were to have bought the Eternabond tape, put that on a few areas, that may be great, but the next guy after me in line or after her is not going to be able to take that up. So they're going to have to work around it, add to it, coat over it, whatever they're going to do. But that's kind of a advantage. That stuff works great. Disadvantage is you, you can't remove it ever again. You're going to have
It's
to work
tough.
around.
It's tough. Yeah. And my call of the week also involves a tape. And I think most of us agree a Eternabond tape is awesome in the right applications. And it's really one of those things that it's great to have. It's expensive. It's one of those things that every RVer doesn't necessarily need to be carrying in their trailer or their motorhome. But when you need it, it's the thing to have. There's a lot of debate in the industry amongst techs about whether it replaces traditional lap sealants, which are applied from a tube. And, it looks like silicone, but it's not. The big name out there, of course, is Dicor. Dicor products are probably the vast majority of what's used by the OEMs when they're
Right.
sealing front caps, et cetera, and skylights, things like that. But I'm going to put up a photograph here, and this is from a front cap where a technician had put down some Eternabond to secure. It was put down over the existing Dicor for the front cap seal, and and I think this was done in a short-term fix um, idea, which is okay. But you can see in this photograph that over time, what has happened is the membrane has rippled, and then the edge of the Eternabond has rippled. And you can see in the photograph here that there are actually little slots where you can see the dirt because that's where rainwater has washed in through these gaps underneath the tape, then gone in through the deteriorated sealant, and then gone in through the front cap. And in this case, there was obvious water damage coming from inside right below the front cap. It's the only area that it could have come from. And this photo was taken after I've done my best to remove the Eternabond and also the original factory installed lap sealant that was under the Eternabond. And so in this case, my fix was to get that as clean as I could. And then I came back and laid in a very wide, probably about a 3.5-inch bead of sealant because I wanted the sealant to be secured to as much of the front cap as possible and to come over the area of the membrane that had been covered by the Eternabond. And so I was laying down, my outer edges were on, membrane that had not had tape on top of it. And this is just a situation where, again, Eternabond is great. If you have a tear in a roof, great place to put down a piece of Eternabond. If it's going to be on a while, I recommend using lap sealant around the edges of the Eternabond tape. That way, this sort of situation will not happen where the tape will lift off and water can intrude underneath it. So here's where I think it's helpful for RV owners to understand the limitations of Eternabond and the necessity to, again, pay attention to what's going up on the roof. I guess as a word of safety, if you're not comfortable climbing up on the ladder that's on your rig, get a bigger, sturdier ladder. If you're not comfortable getting up on the ladder and crawling around on the roof, get somebody else to go up and look. It doesn't even have to be a tech. Somebody can go up there and look at the seal, and if it's deteriorating, you can tell, and then call a tech and have them come out and check it out.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, John. And I'm also going to put you on the spot a little bit. And other techs will appreciate this question. So you're putting down, I think you said 3-inch wide strip of new product there, new sealant. About how many tubes does it take to put that much sealant on a front cap? We're probably talking
Well,
several tubes, just the front cap.
yeah, because here's my feeling on this is that from the standpoint of a client, the biggest cost in resealing any roof work is it's the labor of getting up there, removing any old stuff, cleaning it, or even if you're not removing, still cleaning it. That the value in my mind is put down as much sealant to do it properly. Unfortunately, I think all of the technicians that are paying attention or excuse me, listening to our podcast and have done this work have gone up on relatively brand new rigs, 2, 3, 4 years old. And what we see is a very narrow strip of sealant. Sometimes the sealant doesn't even cover the screws. I mean, it's a bad job out of the factory. So for those of you that have a brand new rig and you're thinking, I don't need to have my roof looked at for a year, no, get someone up there to make sure that's sealed up properly. Um, so to answer your question, it was 6 tubes of sealant
Bye.
to do an 8 foot front cap, and I did have to run some back kind of along the side for about another 3 feet because the way the damage was set up, and on that area, I could not remove the old Eternabond. So it's not the best, but I put a new strip of Eternabond down over the old, resecured it down over the edge, but then used lap sealant to secure the edges of the Eternabond to the membrane of the roof.
Oh, that sounds great. And I know we're not necessarily doing a tool time segment this episode, but
Yep.
I think John and I would both agree. New techs out there, you should do one of those jobs with a good old handgun, um, squeeze away 10,000 times to earn your stripes. And then after that, go buy a powered caulk gun for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, man. 12-volt caulk gun is my friend on those jobs.
Yeah, you can put out a lot more product. You can actually do a better job. John and I both been through this ordeal, and you can be a lot smoother, a lot more efficient, and just do much better work with the right tool. And if you're putting down that much sealant throughout the day, and it's outdoor, hot, tough conditions, you want to be as smooth and consistent as possible. And the right tool only helps with that.
Absolutely. I'm a Milwaukee fan. All my power tools are Milwaukee, so I have a Milwaukee 12-volt caulk gun, as I think you might have too.
Yep. I have a mixture, but definitely am appreciative of the Milwaukee Power Gun. That's for sure.
So, and we're getting close to wrapping up this episode, but this sort of we've touched a couple things. We've talked a lot about other techs, working with other techs, or doing work after other technicians, and I don't want that to sound like it's always a bad thing, like we're there fixing poor work from other technicians, because we're not. Okay, that's not always the case, and maybe not even half of the cases. Because what we find, at least what I've found in my work, is that we respond as best we can to the client's needs and desires, and a lot of that, frankly, is based on economics. When we offer a good, better, best options for roof work, it's because we respect that not every client can always afford the best option at that time. And so there's always ways to get a short-term fix. There's ways to get a long-term fix. But when it comes to roof sealants, as we said earlier, no fix is a permanent fix. And
I
so
like
talking
that.
about networking with other RV techs, not every RV tech really wants to get up on the roof and do this work. I frankly I enjoy it. There's a lot of other type of RV repair work that I don't want to do, or I cannot do, based on the limitations that I have with my business and essentially being one person
Well,
operating out of a truck.
and for our audience to understand, John is a crazy guy in that for fun, as a hobby, he likes climbing mountains anyway. So it's in his blood.
Well, that might help a little bit, right? But, when we talk about networking amongst other technicians, what are some of your experiences that would be of use for both the technicians that are listening today, but also for our lay audience to understand about how technicians can work together sometimes?
Yeah, in our area, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, we have several RVTAA, RV Technician Association of America, certified techs in the area, and we actually have a knowledge of each other. We regularly chat. We refer work to each other, and as we go throughout the years and find which of us takes on more jobs, which of us is successful in certain kind of jobs, we kind of learn our individual skills and specialties. There's lots of work in RVs, everything from electrical, HVAC, plumbing, sealing, external leaks, things like that. So lots of different disciplines, lots of different skill sets. And so technicians end up kind of finding a niche eventually and specializing. So between workload rebalancing and specializing, where I'm going here is we like sharing with each other. There's plenty of work to go around, and I frequently have said to a customer, "Hey, I'm either pretty full or that job I know my buddy down the street can handle much better than I can. Let me refer you over there." Or sometimes proactively reach out and say, "Hey, I got a guy with this situation. I can't get to him. Are you going to be able to if I give him your name?" And we'll help clients get to the right tech that way. And it's a great network because we as much work as I've passed out to other guys, they've passed it to me too. So it's a reciprocal thing. And at the end of the day, I believe everybody wins that way. I've had customers that were very appreciative of getting the right guy, getting the most available guy, getting the best guy or lady for their particular situation. My point to all this is, at least amongst the RVTAA registered technicians, there's a certain camaraderie and a professional alliance that we really help each other out, and ultimately the customer wins.
And that's the key thing, is that the customer wins, because I always try and put myself in the shoes of the clients who call us and who need help and who need it right away, or they need a mobile tech because they're living full time in their RV. They cannot move the RV to a shop, etc. So, and understand, I think it's a valuable thing for our audience to understand, is that there's limitations. I mean, I know a very, very, very good shop, but there's certain types of work they cannot do because their shop doesn't have proper plumbing and things like that. I mean, not every shop, and certainly not every mobile tech, can do everything. And so I think reputable mobile techs will say, look, that's not in my wheelhouse, or for whatever reason, I'm not comfortable doing this, and you're better off going somewhere else, and here's where to go. And, that's where networking is so important for techs. It helps our own businesses, it helps our colleagues' businesses, it helps the industry
Yeah.
in general. So, well, Joe, I think that kind of takes us to the end of the day. And any final words?
No, I just appreciate our growing audience out there. Don't forget, if you've got any questions or comments, you can contact us at Contact Us. Contact is our email address, and we'll address your concerns and catch up on a future episode.
And it'll be in the show notes. And please, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. Do all the things that you know to do, that we always ask any creator of podcasts. So we will see you next time around at the Smart RV Podcast. Take care and safe travels. See you, Joe.
Take care.